Marion, what are you doing here?
I have to see Allison.
Have you seen her yet?
No.
Come in. You shouldn't have come here. Who's it gonna help? You? Allison?
I have to see her.
What can you say to her?
I don't know.
What are they doing to you?
I've been arraigned.
How about your husband?
John, he's polite. Very polite. We don't say much.
Look, I'm in this with you.
You said I should have told them right away. I wish you'd forced me to, or gone to the police yourself.
Blown the whistle on you? You know I couldn't do that.
Hello, Mr. Carey.
Allison, go back to your room.
They told me they'd taken you off of my case. They had no right to do that.
Go back to your room.
You're Mrs. Fowler, aren't you?
Yes.
I used to see you and your husband walking in the square.
I'd like to talk to you. Please, Russ.
Okay.
I suppose you know. I wanted to tell you how it happened. Why I didn't stop.
Mr. Gehring already told me. He told me you were coming from his house. He wanted me to know before somebody else told me and made it worse than it was.
It's bad enough.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
If you had been coming from someplace else, someplace safe, would you still have left me lying there?
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't been able to erase you from my mind. If I was sitting in a restaurant and a girl came in, she became you. Walking down the street, if I saw a girl, it was you. I had to come back and face you. When you came out of the coma, didn't you think about the person who'd hit you? Didn't you hate that person? Want to punish them for what they'd done to you?
What do you want?
I'm not sure.
Do you want me to tell you that I forgive you? Is that it?
I suppose so.
Then I forgive you, Mrs. Fowler.
Allison?
Yes?
I just had to stay and comment on your performance.
I'm not really interested.
You two make quite a prize pair, her with her head on the chopping block, and you...
I'm not angry at Mrs. Fowler.
Oh, yes, you are, and you're angry at me for the way I've handled this case. And you're angry at Rodney Harrington because you can't give him the things he wants.
Leave me alone.
Now, you've put all your anger in some kind of a displaced basket. Oh, you can forgive Mrs. Fowler for running you down just like that. But you can't forgive your parents for the terrible, terrible crime of loving you.
What Mrs. Fowler did to me can be repaired. What my parents did is...
Is what? Permanent damage beyond repair?
What do you want me to do, Doctor?
I want you to face your anger, that's all. Face it. Now, listen, I want you to get well again.
I was just on my way out. I got a call from Lawrence. Unfortunately, Stella Chernak's old boyfriend has disappeared.
You told me that Lawrence had tracked him to Bakersfield.
He went to Bakersfield, but Jensen quit his job, left town, and just disappeared.
That's fine. That's just fine. You convinced me that Lawrence was a capable private detective.
I'm just as disappointed as you are.
Now what? The trial's almost over.
We wait. Hope that Lawrence finds Jensen in time.
You'd better call Lawrence back and tell him to forget it.
What?
That's right, you heard me.
There's nothing else I know that could knock a hole in Stella Chernak's testimony.
Find something else.
We've got to go on trying to find Jensen.
I'm not gambling with Rodney's life and freedom any longer. I'm the man who signs your checks, and I'm telling you to find something else.
Yeah, it started, hasn't it? We're turning on each other. I am doing other things, Mr. Harrington. The fact is, I have an appointment right now.
I'm going to have to remake page 3 if you jump any more material from page 1.
Well, I don't want to shorten that city council story.
Well, I can't continue it any place but page 3.
Hello, Steve.
Elliot, can I see you for a minute?
Yes, sure. We'll talk about it later, Jerry.
I've got a favor I'd like to ask of you.
What?
Bring Allison to court tomorrow. Bring her to court and put her right up front where the jury can see her.
Marion Fowler's victim.
Exactly.
That's a pretty desperate move.
Well, you've been in that courtroom. You can see how things are going.
Does Rodney know that you're asking me to do this?
No.
Well, Allison has been through a series of severe shocks.
I know, and I wouldn't ask if I didn't feel it was absolutely necessary.
You know something, Steve? If I were on that jury and somebody brought Allison into that courtroom, I'd be furious. All these side effects. First of all, Fowler brings in the newly widowed Mrs. Chernak, dressed in black, with her daughter sitting in the front row.
Just
Then you
want to give Rodney the same advantage.
No matter how I feel about Rodney, and you know I'm for him, I can't risk my daughter's health.
Well, I've heard Allison's improving rapidly.
Yes, she is improving, and I want her to go on improving. But I'm not going to take that chance.
We take care of our own, don't we?
We have to.
Do we? All right. When and if you tell Allison about this, don't forget to tell her what I said. That in my professional opinion, Rodney desperately needs the kind of help her appearance in that courtroom would produce.
Jerry! Remake page 3.
But we've already got...
I said remake page 3.
You're the boss.
Allison? The nurse says you've been sleeping for hours, and you have to get up now or you won't sleep tonight.
Oh.
You've had a long enough nap. Do you know sleep is a way of running away?
You're beginning to sound like Dr. Rossi.
How are you today?
Tired.
It's Tiny. We're going home. You can't stay here forever.
I don't want to go home.
You've had time to do a lot of thinking. Surely you can't still be that angry with your father and me.
I've done a lot of thinking. Nothing has changed.
You know, through the years, I've watched you grow up. I've watched you make decisions and form opinions. I've always admired your fairness and your gentleness and your maturity. I've always been very proud of you. I don't believe that you can be this cruel.
I'm being honest. If it's cruel, then...
Elliot's your father, and he loves you. I'm your mother, and I love you. We made a mistake, but we've paid for that 1,000-fold. What do we have to do to earn your forgiveness?
There's nothing to forgive.
I can't keep coming here day after day to beg. Begging is wrong, and it's weak and useless. And we can't keep going around in circles either. We have to find a way to try to reach each other. You and I have lost something very precious.
What is that?
Love. Sharing. Closeness.
I don't think we'll ever have those again.
I've made up my mind never to lie to you again. Or pretend or keep secrets. Before you come home, I want to tell you something. We're going to have a baby. Your father and I are going to have a baby.
Well, that's very nice for you, Mother.
Allison.
For both of you.
That's not the way you really feel.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to share this with us. With me, with your father.
The baby?
The happiness.
Don't you see, Mother, that's exactly the point. It's your happiness. I'd just be an intruder.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
No. I think it's wonderful you're going to have a baby. It means that you and your husband...
My husband, your father.
Let me just say it. It means that my mother and my father finally will have a legitimate child.
Preview from the continuing story of Peyton Place.
That sounds like a professional brush-off, Doctor. The medical equivalent of Siberia.
She had a father, a real one, not a cardboard one. Why didn't you let her have it?
You are blaming me.
You promised to stay out of the courtroom.
Unlike human beings, promises are made to be broken.
Mr. Peyton, don't cheat the clock at Rod's expense.